Duel lesson. What is once per turn?
There can only be one winner, and you're looking at it. Let's go.
Yeah. So there is a hard once per turn. There is a soft once per turn. There is use once per turn. There is activate once per turn. These are 4 different things that you do want to learn. You want to understand these. So, chat, we're going to do a card example for each. What is a card that is a hard once per turn? Something from Harpies. That could be good and relevant. Maybe Cyber/Harpie. Let's see what Cyber/Harpie is. You can only use the effect of Cyber/Harpie once per turn. So Cyber/Harpie is a hard once per turn. And we'll talk about why. So what this means is, even with additional copies of the card, it can only be used once that turn. Now, a card could have a hard once per turn effect and a soft once per turn. You want to know what card has that? I believe it's Rooster. I think Rooster has a hard and a soft. Yes. Rooster is literally double. Rooster is hard and soft at the same time. Advanced is Rooster is soft and hard at the same time. At the same time, it's soft and hard. That's crazy. So the hard effect is searching a Fire Fist on special summon. The soft is searching a fire formation. So that's an advanced thing. And now we want the hard once per turn. Trying to make this look a bit more pleasing visually. So now let's talk about a soft once per turn. What is a soft once per turn card? Whitestone of Ancients is a soft once per turn. This is once per turn, you could summon a Blue Eyes White Dragon. If you have multiple in the graveyard, you could summon as many as you have in the deck to summon. So that is a great example. Itself can only be activated once, even if negated, but multiple copies will activate. Very good. Now, use once per turn. What is a popular use once per turn? Okay, so I'm going to cheat. We're going to jump ahead, and we're going to talk about Onslaught being the activate. So Onslaught's going to be activate. We're going to jump ahead. We're going to put this ahead of this. We're going to talk about Onslaught and what that means by being activate. This means if negated, if the activation is negated. This means if the activation is negated, you may use another copy. So what would cause it to not be activatable again? So there's 2 things. What would cause it? So number 1, number 2, card that would prevent another use, card that would allow another use. So let's see Sinto. Maybe we don't want to go off of tier list too much because I'm not sure how expansive the tier list is for this. So what would be an effect that would prevent you from activating another Onslaught, and what would be an effect that would allow you to use another Onslaught? We'll look at Providence. Providence could be a good example. So let's see Providence. When a spell or trap or monster effect is activated, discard, negate the activation. So Providence would allow you to use another. You could use another Onslaught of the Fire Kings. So this would allow another use, and now we're going to talk about prevent. Wait, no. Yeah, this would allow another use. And what would prevent another use? I'll just say navigation, even though it's not too relevant right now. So with navigation, the difference is the navigation will, let me read the part where it says it, negate its effects. So you have a card that negates the effect, and then you have a card that negates the activation. This is Magician Navigation. So if you Magician Navigation, the Onslaught of the Fire Kings, you cannot activate another Onslaught. If you Ultimate Providence, the Fire Kings, the Onslaught of the Fire Kings, you can activate another because the activation was negated. The Magician Navigation negates the effect. You already activated. It's once per turn. The activation was not negated, and it is a once per turn, so you cannot use another Onslaught if it gets negated by navigation. But with Providence, go ahead, use another. So now I use once per turn to try to be in line with what we were talking about. So Circle says you can only use each effect of Dark Magical Circle once per turn. So what this means is we're going to use Providence as an example again. This means that if the activation is negated, you still used the card. So straight up, effect or activation negated equal you will not be able to use another copy of Circle. So Ultimate Providence equal negate activation plus prevent another Circle from being activated. Where Ultimate Providence on Onslaught of the Fire Kings allows you to use another one. I could use another one. So Providence would equal just use another Onslaught forehead. So if you're just hopping in, this is a dual lesson on what is once per turn. Hard once per turn, soft once per turn, activate once per turn, use once per turn, and now we have advanced. Brotherhood of the Firefist Rooster is soft and hard at the same time. So the soft means multiple copies can search fire formations. And the hard effect equals multiple copies cannot search for a Fire Fist monster. So there you go. The quick rundown of this. A hard once per turn would be Cyber/Harpie because it says that equal. You can only use the effect of Cyber/Harpie once per turn, which means that even with additional copies of the card, it can only be used once that turn. Soft once per turn is Whitestone of the Ancients. How do we identify that it is a soft once per turn versus a Cyber/Harpie? Let's look at that card real quick. Let's grab the exact text and to identify. This is usually when it says once per turn. That's why you know you could use multiple copies. So itself can only be activated once per turn because it says once per turn, even if negated, but multiple copies will activate. And then activate once per turn is Onslaught of the Fire Kings. Well, it's going to be quite obvious on that card because it will say it on the card. Let's look at Onslaught. Onslaught of the Fire Kings. You can only activate once per turn. And let's expand the Ancients. The full effect. There we go. And the Onslaught being inactivated once per turn, which we have identified that based off of its text, means that if the activation is negated, you may use another copy. A card that would prevent the use of another one would be a Magician Navigation because it negates the effect. Not activation. And the card that would allow another use would be Providence because you just get, it negates the activation and you can only activate once, so you could just use another Onslaught forehead. Then Dark Magical Circle. How do we identify this, that this is a use once per turn and what makes a difference? Let's grab the circle real quick. Sorry if I'm all over the place. My glasses make me all over the place because they're broken. You could only use. So when the card identifies itself within the text, when it says Dark Magical Circle in its own text, when the Ancients does not say its own name, its own text, that means you can use multiple copies. Onslaught says itself in its own text. Now, Dark Magical Circle, because it's used once per turn, that means if the activation is negated, you still use the card, so you cannot use another one. And the effect or activation negated just does not matter which one. You will not be able to use another copy. So Providence negate activation plus prevent another circle from being activated. And then advance, Brotherhood of the Fire Fist. And the same thing. Bonus. Good job on catching this. Bonus. The White Stone of the Ancients is soft and hard at the same time. That is nuts. Soft plus hard. The hard effect is adding a Blue Eyes from GY to hand. The soft is summoning a Blue Eyes from the deck. And there you go. Hopefully there is no confusions with this. Hopefully you learned. Let me know if you like that. Thank you so much. Let's go.